Did Kobe play in that first game?
Yeah, he did.
How was that?
Shit, the first 5 minutes, I was just staring at him like,
Oh, God.
Like, that's him
Kobe,
for real?
you know what I'm
That's a
saying?
real person.
Yeah, like that's Kobe, but he wasn't paying me no mind. You know what I'm saying? So when I got on the court, I'm thinking, you know, he gonna be like, "Welcome to the league," you know, something like that. He ain't say shit. Just so that kind of like put me back into being a competitor because it was like you naturally gonna take it a little personal, even if you feel like that's Kobe or that's Brown or whoever. I was like, damn, he ain't say nothing. So I'm like, shit, it's either me waiting to be a fan or I gotta do what I gotta do.
When Damian Lillard first came into the league, Kobe Bryant tried to warn other players about him.
Damian Lillard certainly didn't look like a rookie tonight. You had to find an answer for him. You did late, but what do you think about his game?
I mean, that boy's serious, man. He's serious, and he's not afraid of anything. And, you know, he has the whole package. You know, he's got the three ball, the mid-range, get all the way to the rim, obviously. And we just had to go get him.
But despite Dame constantly reminding us that he is not someone you want to mess with, many still go out of their way to poke the bear, even when they know they shouldn't.
Beverly wants to talk. That only does one thing. Hires the letter O up even more and takes him to greater heights.
Nobody showed Patrick Beverly that sign at the zoo. Don't poke the bear.
Jeremy sees two, brings it up top here to rebound.
Here are 5 times Damian Lillard sought revenge. On January 10th, 2017, in a game against the Lakers, Lillard was really struggling in the first half, as he missed his first 8 shots and finished the half shooting just 1 of 10 from the field. He was having a dreadful game to say the least. That is, until he and D'Angelo Russell got into a heated altercation.
Good team, but he's one that plays it.
All right, defense, of course, was your main calling card. One of the things you did so great. But what is it about? Oh, here we go.
Hold me back, Mike. I may want to go out there.
Coop, we don't want you to get fined, but I'm going to keep touching.
Okay, I don't want to hurt the Lakers.
I think it looks like more like a hold me back moment.
This took place around the 6-minute mark of the third quarter, with the Lakers only down by 1 at that point. But by then, the damage was already done. That confrontation seemed to ignite something in Lillard.
Lillard has a step on Russell. A backhand flip one. Here's the bomb after. Here's Lillard. He comes down and he sticks a jumper over Mozgov. And the Blazers open up a modest 3-point and scores.
Well, hey, look, I like what's been happening ever since the altercation took place. Dame Dollar finding his spot.
Dame picked up by Randall. He'll speed by Randall. He's got 5 on 4. Goes into the lane, laying it in. He's fouled. He goes to the line.
See, sometimes you got to be careful who you talk reckless to.
Lillard scored 11 straight points in that third quarter, and the Blazers ended up having a 23-point lead at one point in time, after it was only a 1-point game back when that heated exchange occurred. Portland easily ran away with the victory, and here's Lillard himself sharing what caused things to turn around.
I was struggling shooting the ball. I was getting really good looks. A lot of them felt really good and, you know, rattled in and out. Didn't go for me. As far as that situation, I mean, since last game, he's been doing little slick elbows, and I play the game clean. And, you know, I'm from Oakland, and I ain't with that extra stuff, and ain't nobody can just do what they want to me. I mean, I don't know what made them feel like that was gonna be accepted, you know, or like I wouldn't take exception to that. I took it as a challenge. We ain't gonna do it on the court, so we'll be in the back, and you know, whatever happens, happens. But I mean, it was nothing. He poked the bear, and you know, you see what happened the rest of the game.
Jordan Poole is another player who ended up costing his team as a result of pissing Lillard off when he decided to talk trash after doing this on November 4th, 2019.
It's a high level both ways. Oh my God, Jordan Poole step back 3! We said attack Damian.
And here's Lillard discussing it when he made an appearance on the Colin Cowherd podcast back in 2022.
Maybe like 2 years ago, we played against Golden State, and Steph was hurt, Draymond was hurt. And we was playing against him, and he wasn't playing a lot of minutes, but he like did a move and he scored on me. He hit a shot, he hit a 3, and he started talking shit. He said something, so I kind of looked back like, what, you know? And towards like, I think it was towards the end of the first half maybe or whatever, I'm at the free throw line and he's just back there just talking. So I turned to him and I'm like, man, like like, shut the fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, shut up. That's how kind of how I said to him. He was like, make me.
Dame put up 39 points that night, but it was in a losing effort. So of course he had to circle his calendar for when he played them again on January 20th, 2020.
Then like shortly after that, we played him on, I think, MLK Day in Portland. And he was on the bench, and I started the game real slow. And he on the bench, he says, oh, he ain't on shit tonight. So I turn and look at him. In that game, I end up scoring 60 points, and we beat him in Portland. And I just remember telling Draymond, like, man, I don't mess with that dude like that. Like, I don't like him.
Now let's see what happens when a fan pisses him off. You just know that it has to be extremely irritating for the home team when their fans think that they're helping out by trash-talking the opposing players. But all it does is end up having the opposite effect, motivating the visiting players even more. Even the announcers know not to do that.
Is getting everything squared away.
We need to tell the guys down in the front row in good seats, don't talk to Damian Lillard. Don't wake the bear. He's talking to somebody in the front row there.
Yeah, do not provoke Damian Lillard.
It's too late.
Do not provoke Damian Lillard.
He's been provoked.
But it looks like nobody tried to warn this fan in Orlando.
Does Weaver Stadium have a degree? Typically, you get degree.
It was October 25th, 2018. Apparently, a Magic fan was heckling Damian Lillard throughout the first half. A half that Lillard wasn't performing all that well in, as his jumper was off, making just 1 of 7 shots to start the game. But when halftime arrived, he had to let the fan know that the second half was about to be a different story, and boy was it. He absolutely went off, scoring 34 points in the second half alone, ending with a total of 41 points. In one particular moment, he made sure to hold his follow-through in the air for a couple extra seconds while looking back at the heckling fan behind the Magic bench.
But they had a guy, behind their bench that just kept running his mouth. He just kept running his mouth and running his mouth. And I told him, I said, you're going to get them in trouble. You know what I'm saying? I'm here for this. And he kept on talking. And in the second half, I ain't hear a word from him. So, that's that.
Back in 2016, Damian Lillard felt that he got snubbed from the All-Star team, something that he was used to around that time.
Dame, what was your initial reaction when you found the news?
I wasn't really surprised by it. I don't know I don't think there's much else I can do.
The point guard position in the West back then was extremely deep, as people saw Lillard as only the 4th best point guard in the conference that year, behind Steph, Russ, and CP3. While him not making the All-Star team was completely understandable from that perspective, Dame didn't view it that way. He felt that he was purposely overlooked and took it personal, so much so to the point where he later released a track titled They Sleep, where he expressed his frustrations on being left out of the All-Star game.
I'm as humble as they come, but my shoe game lit. I ain't make the All-Stars, but I'm flu game sick. Last time they count me out, what I do game 6.
But he wasn't quite finished making the league pay. The diss track was cool and all, but what better way to make a statement than to obliterate the team that would eventually go on to win 73 games that year. This was the very first game after the All-Star break for both teams, and it looks like Dame took his anger out on them.
It's common for people to go unnoticed and get overlooked. There's 2 things you can do. You can sit there and pout and feel bad for yourself, or you can start figuring out ways for you to get better.
Damian Lillard, a new career high 51. Statement.
That is a statement. For all you all-star coaches that couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, there it is.
Dame dropped 51 points, handing the Warriors just their 5th loss of the season. I guess it was just bad timing for the Warriors to have to play the Blazers right after All-Star weekend, as Lillard couldn't wait to get back on the court to show everyone that they made a mistake leaving him off their All-Star team. Back in December of last year, Tyrese Haliburton savagely mocked Lillard's Dame Time celebration during the Pacers' in-season tournament win over the Bucks to advance to the championship game. And people were curious to hear Lillard's reaction to that.
I learned as a kid, when you dish it out, you got to be willing to take it. And for as many times as I've done it to people, I can't be upset when somebody else does it. I think that's also a sign of respect and acknowledgement for, knowing my history and knowing what I do. And, you know, I didn't mind it.
As you just heard, he said that he took it as a compliment, but to me, that doesn't seem like a sign of respect if you're doing somebody's signature celebration right in their face. It was obvious that Haliburton was doing it to Dame, and I think Dame knows that, because if it really didn't bother him like he said it didn't, then why did he feel the need to go on and say this?
I've also known that, you know, when you having your moment, it's important to be careful and to be humble when you having your moments, because you just never know how the tables turn and when they gonna turn. So
just that alone shows that he was seething deep down inside. Now, he did go on to win the 3-point contest, a contest that Tyrese Haliburton competed in, as well as the All-Star Game MVP in Haliburton's very own building.
Dame, it's not often that you hear that many boos when a guy wins the most valuable player, but taken into account, here we are in Indiana, and Tyrese had himself a nice ball game. But congratulations, man.
I appreciate it. I expect it. You know, we in his hometown, we in his building. He had a great game, but it's an honor. You know, I've been here quite a few times, so to be able to have this type of accomplishment is special.
But he wasn't quite satisfied with that. He knew that he needed to get back at Haliburton in a game that actually mattered. Well, look no further than Game 1 of their first-round series this past postseason. The Bucks took Game 1 of the series due to a monster first-half performance from Dame, scoring all 35 of his points in the first 2 quarters, making 6 threes, as he kept looking back at Haliburton after they went in.
Well, Dame, back in December, you made a statement saying, be careful and be humble. You never know when the tables are going to turn, in response to Tyrese Haliburton hitting the Dame time wrist. Have the tables turned?
I've been around long enough to know you can't get too emotional. And also, you know, it's a long series. There's only one game out of a possible 7, so.
Nobody would have blamed him if he took that time to boast a little bit, but he knew that it was only one game, and sure enough, his revenge on Haliburton was short-lived, as the Pacers ultimately got the last laugh by winning the series in 6 games. But nevertheless, Haliburton still got a taste of what happens when you poke the bear. If you guys are wondering why I didn't bring up Russell Westbrook at all, it's because I already did an entire video dedicated to the history of their beef. Check it out if you want.